Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. To start off the video, let me just state that I consider myself to be an agnostic. That being said, I can see why people hold such belief in a higher power. I have my own theories and observations, but if you have any differing views, I invite you to leave them in the comments below. Firstly, people may hold faith in their religion due to it giving them a sense of belonging, or it may also be for a lack of self-confidence. They may want to think that they are more than they perceive themselves to be. I would just like to remind these people that humans are composed of stardust, taken from its abundance of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur, which are the fundamental elements to life on Earth. Therefore, it can be said that we are part of the universe as well as the universe is in us, like Neil deGrasse Tyson has also mentioned previously. Hence, if we think about what humans are, there should not really be a need for a sense of belonging, since we are all fundamentally connected, at least on a physical level. In addition, I can't think of anything physically larger than the space occupied by the universe. Can you? So to those who lack self-confidence, I would like to say that yes, we take up much less space than the entirety of the universe. However, that same massive universe is contained within us. Hopefully this simple observation will help them to walk with their heads held up a little higher. Another reason people may depend on religion may be to keep themselves accountable or to self-restrict. People tend to listen to those they feel are in a higher position than them, or someone they feel can lead them to what they want to achieve. However, since people don't tend to think of others as fundamentally higher than them, they try to create an entity which they believe to have absolute presence over them, i.e. God. When they do this, I believe they are actually keeping themselves in check by imposing limits without actually believing they're the ones who are doing it. Instead, some entity who holds power over them is in charge of imposing the limits, since they know what is considered right or wrong. Perhaps an example will make things clearer. Suppose there is a person who is thinking about stealing from a store. If he believes that there is some disadvantage or penalty to committing the deed, the logical and somewhat instinctive response would be not to do it. Therefore, in my opinion, the legal laws most human societies follow, and what is described as bad or evil in most religious texts might actually share some similarities. This also means, however, that there should be no need for you to follow any religious text for the purpose of self-evaluation, since this process already takes place somewhat instinctually and inherently. I discuss more on this topic in my A Logical Interpretation to Creating Legal Laws video. Please check it out if you're interested. That being said, I believe that a portion of religious texts, since they're documented by humans, are also biased in their presentation of what may be intended. Through these, more misconceptions usually arise, which bring forth extremists and the like. In order for these cases to be kept to a minimum, I believe those who think of themselves as religious tend to use the text as more of a guide instead of strictly abiding by every word. The last point I'll leave you with to think about is what might have occurred if the concept of religion never existed. We might be fine in this era with established science and technology. However, what about in the primal era? If people had not yet discovered the laws of physics and the universe, as well as not everyone can have the directive curiosity of Galileo or Newton, what would have happened to those who might be more prone to acting without first thinking? It's worse if these people didn't have anyone to guide them, such as a parent or someone they looked up to. This is where I believe religion had and still might have its place. For those who are either not as educated in the universe and our existence along with it, or for those who otherwise don't have somewhere they feel emotionally connected, this may be the answer for them. Just for your information, I tend to think of spirituality as essentially a heightened emotional response. I may make a video covering what I mean by this phrase at a later time. I think the fundamental problem with religion may be that it can prevent people from exploring their inherent curiosity. This is also why I believe scientists of old should be given quite a bit of gratitude, because it is quite difficult to go against the norm and seek what is actually there when there is already a pre-established framework of life. In some extreme cases, it was even considered criminal, such as with the Roman Inquisition. This leads me to the phrase God of gaps. You might have heard of this before, but for those who haven't, I'll try my best to explain it. I personally believe it stems from the extreme curiosity of the unknown. We know what we observe. This is registered as memories and knowledge to us. However, after we die and no longer accumulate knowledge through our receptors, it is physically not possible to accumulate any more observations. Since we can no longer observe, this area remains an unknown. However, since some people tend to feel uncomfortable with this, they create a story of a higher power in their mind that states that there is something after death, which consequently dictates how they live their lives. I personally don't see a problem with this aspect due to the fact I just mentioned. We can't know what occurs after we die. The issue comes when people are content with this and don't bother to continue to seek answers to satiate their curiosity and push the boundaries of what is possible to be known. Our civilization would not have progressed this far if this was the mentality of the majority. So, while some may keep their belief in the unknown, let's just remember to not stop searching and breaching the frontier. With that being said, I guess the points to keep in mind as I get ready to wrap up here are, based on my observations, people tend to lean on religion to attain a sense of belonging, a lack of self-confidence, to self-restrict themselves or keep themselves accountable from doing things which may be perceived negatively, and in a few cases, not bothering to look for answers to problems that may already have preconceived and accepted solutions. Just to clarify, this video is not intended to offend anyone in any shape or form. I am simply trying to determine the possible uses religion may have in a technologically advanced, interconnected world. That being said, I know I can be blunt and very direct with my words, so if anyone did get offended while listening to me, I sincerely apologize. Having a belief in something, regardless if it exists or not, is not bad. In fact, it may act as motivation for some. However, let's not forget to appreciate what can physically interact with us and keep discovering. Now, if anyone has anything to add to what I've discussed here, I would love to hear from you. Don't hesitate to leave it in the comments below. If you agree with me on some points I've made, that's great. But if you've disagreed with me, I would still love to hear your opinion. My goal is to attempt to create a space where discussion can take place in a somewhat constructive manner. That being said, I would advise to stay away from plain hate or useless verbal abuse. I welcome constructive criticism, but not hatefully intended statements. With that being said, if you enjoyed any part of this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you press the like button and consider subscribing. Even if you've disagreed with me, I would request you to leave it in the comments below of why you did so instead of pressing the dislike. Therefore, you might be able to get your point across better. For this channel, I'll take the number of likes to represent those who may agree with me on at least one of the points I said. The dislikes, however, would provide no concrete statements for you to make your point. All opinions are welcome as long as it comes along with the intention of keeping an open mind towards the opinion of others. One last thing I would like to mention is I may post some videos at a later date that may act as a follow-up or sequel to some of the points explored in this video. Perhaps topics like observing something as it is or importance of questioning. I guess I'll decide on how to proceed based on the response from this video. Anyways, if you're still here, I thank you for listening to me ramble on. Bye for now, and remember, keep curious.